Okay, next up, we're going to talk all about Adobe Spark Page, or also known as web page. Okay, and the reason why they call it web page is think of a web page that you visit. Of course, you have to scroll down to see more content. That's kind of what an Adobe Spark page does. I also want you to think of it as a way for you to present something. So something different than the look of a PowerPoint or something to that effect, even a little bit flashier than a Google slide presentation. So that's another form that you might want to use a Spark page for. Always like to give you an idea of what this sort of asset looks like. And so here is an Adobe Spark page that I have created. In fact, me and my colleague, Brandon Shutt, we actually worked on this together. So we collaborated on it, and we took individual pieces and was actually a presentation for our Stanislaus County Office of Education board meeting. So this is kind of the edited version of it. I'm going to actually show you what it looks like kind of in its full Monty. So I'm going to click present, it'll load it, and then this is what it does. So you've got kind of the graphic behind and our title up in front and center, but then as I scroll down, it gives me kind of this nice look that I really like. Let me actually try that again. So as I scroll down, you can see it kind of really creates this really neat look. Again, it's got the graphics of what I'm presenting. So in this case, we're talking about some of our cybersecurity initiatives that our technology services department was wanting to highlight. And then the next part of the presentation was all about our Laserfiche. So there were some facts that we threw into this presentation. So you can see it just really provides some neat ways to present something that you are wanting to showcase or show off to an audience or group of people. You can also link to something. So you can see as I present, if I hover over the SCO Badge Project logo, if I were to click on that, it will actually bring up the full image for people to be able to see, and then I just kind of click out of it. Okay, so just kind of a neat way to present. You can embed YouTube videos and things like that, so as you're presenting, if you want to showcase something really unique with a video or something like that, you can do that. Okay, you can also link out to other sites. So say for example you want to showcase something on another web page, you can do that. So in this case, we were highlighting some of our tech ventures, things that we were doing a couple of summers ago. Okay, so that is what an Adobe Spark page looks like. So lots of different ways you can utilize it. I'm just going to show you a couple of them so you know how to get started. So again, you're going to click at the plus, or you can click web page right here, and I'm going to go down to web page. Again, it'll take its time in creating kind of a rough template for you. Alright, so from here, I'm going to move my webcam. I can start with the title, right? I'll just call this example. Add subtitle, I'll just call it Spark Page Demo. Okay. If I want to add an image, so if you remember back here, I had kind of this nice fancy image laying in the background. If you want to do that here, where you're going to go is you will go to Photo, okay, and just like on the Adobe Spark post or flyer, you can connect all of these services to it or find free photos using a copyright-free image finder, or you can upload your own, whatever you wanted to do. That's what we did here, right? This was an actual image that we owned that the great Brandon Shutt created. And so if you want to upload your own, you absolutely can. Again, I'm just going to go to find free photos just to demo how cool this is and how high quality of images that it's going to pull up. So again, baseball's starting up here pretty soon, so I'm going to type in baseball to see what comes up. And let's say I want this image. That's kind of a classic one. So here you go. You've got kind of a nice glove and baseball in the background to start your specific site. So if I want to preview this, I can click preview or present. Let's just go with preview. So preview it, and so it'll kind of give that effect that I talked about earlier as you scroll down, it will give you just kind of a nice professional look, depending on what you're presenting. Okay. All right. If you decide to change your mind on that picture, right, you don't really care for that baseball image, you can go to replace, okay, and delete whatever you want to do there. All right. I'm going to leave it in, but if you do change your mind, you can go ahead and change that picture out at any time. Some people ask, what's that focal point about? The focal point is just wherever you want that image to kind of focus on. So like if I I wanted maybe up here more of a focus, it would center the image up there, right? As it were, I want it to obviously focus on the glove and the baseball, so I'm going to keep it kind of front and center that way. And then I have to save that. Okay, all right, so that's kind of the start. Think of that as kind of your title page that you're introducing your audience or whatever you're presenting about. And then as you move on, as you scroll down, it's going to give you all of these different asset options, okay? So again, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. We covered photo and text kind of in Adobe Spark Flyer and Post. So same type of idea there. I can include a button. A button would be a link out to something. So if you remember my example on mine, it linked out to one of our students' Tech Vengers websites to where it would showcase something that you want to look at another site. Okay. Video is something that you can upload yourself, or you can add an embedded YouTube from, notice where you can get them from, YouTube, Vimeo, or Adobe Spark Video. So that's the three options you have as far as bringing in a link to a video asset. Okay. Then you've got photo grid, which is kind of like think of it as a collage, to where you can bring in a collage of images. A glide show is like a slideshow of images that will click through. Okay, so just picture of it like that. And a split layout is just your specific, column type of site. So one column of the page has a picture, and maybe the other column has some text referring to what it is. So those are the options that you have when you're creating an Adobe Spark page. I'll demo a couple of these, but again, I want to have you play to where you can kind of figure out how these work. So let's go ahead and start with photo, just for the heck of it. Okay, again, it recognizes my search, so if I want to stick with baseball, I can, or I can bring up something else to where I can upload a photo of my own. Let's try that one. That one's always fun. So I'm going to bring in the SCO Badge Project image here. I'll open that up. Maybe. There we go. Okay, and now as I scroll down, notice that my image comes up front and center. Now, I don't really have a whole lot of options. I can have it to where it's inline, so when I scroll down, it's kind of centered. I can have it fill the screen if I want to, depending on the quality of your image. That might not be the best idea because it might not be good to have fill the screen. I can have it within the window, so it kind of gives that type of a look, right? I can put a caption that kind of describes what that is. I can do the full width of the specific page. Again, if the image isn't that high quality, that might not give you the best look. I can have it move. So when it moves, I can have it move up or down, depending, again, how big the image is. So maybe this is a really huge, high quality and dimension image, and in order to see it, you kind of have to glide through it. So the move would be your option there. I'm going to leave it as inline. Okay, I'm going to preview and see how this looks from the get-go. So here's my title page. As I scroll down, my image is front and center. And if I wanted to, I could add in some text once I go back in. Okay. So let's say I want, a caption here. So I can just simply type in SCO Badge Project so people know exactly what that is. And maybe then that's a talking point for me once I reach that stage in my presentation. Okay. All right, so that's a photo. Again, text. You can throw in some text to kind of segment or segue into the next piece. So maybe the next part I'm talking about, something in English language arts, right? So that's kind of my next title. And I can make this a header, so it'll make it a little bit bigger. I can put something in quotes. I can link out to that if I wanted to. Notice that I can't link out to it unless it's a specific size. So right now I'm not getting the link option. So when I preview it, this is what it would look like, right? So I'm scrolling through, hit my image, and then the section that I'm about to speak about. Okay, so that's kind of what that will do for you if you add in some text. Okay. Button, like I said, this is kind of just a button for people to click, or for you to click, I should say, if you're presenting on something. So I'm going to kind of stick with our SCO badge project here. So that'll be the text, but then if I put in the website, it's going to actually take me out to that site if I were to click on it. So if I go preview, here we go, I click on the button, and bam, now I'm ready to talk about the SCO badge project and the website now that it's front and center. Okay, so that would be the purpose of the button. Okay, YouTube video, mentioned that earlier. Again, you have access to YouTube Vimeo or an actual Spark video that you've made or somebody shared with you. Okay, I don't have a link offhand, but essentially that's what that would do. So if you want to show a video during your presentation, a great way to kind of embed it there. Photo grid. Okay. Add photos to build your grid. So I can find photos. So I'll do that again. I'll just stick with baseball. I'm going to go with this one. Okay, and that one, notice I can just kind of click through and add in however many I want. Okay, then I click save. Go ahead and preview that guy and see what that looks like. Okay, and so again, your grid is kind of your collage, right? It's creating a collage of images for you. When you go ahead and use that photo grid. The glide show is kind of a slideshow, okay? That's why they call it glide show. So again, I'll just kind of stick with these images to kind of show you how this works. Okay. All right, when I click save, I go to preview, and this is what it's going to do. So here's my collage. Right, and when I get to the glide show, look how this looks, super slick. As I glide through this glide show, it's simply just a slideshow of those images that I chose, right? So just a nice look, and again, the images that you pull from Pixabay will be really high quality, so they're not going to be blurry or pixelated. It's just going to give your audience a really nice look at whatever you're presenting. Okay. So highly encourage you to include the glide show. Notice that they give you a little plus to add in some text or another photo within the glide show, or a button and a video. So you got 4 options here. So I'm just going to type in baseball, right? And I'll make that a heading 2. We'll go to my preview. And so now when I go to my glide show, now I've got some context associated with one of those pictures, and you can do that for each of them. All right, so it just gives you a really nice and clean look as you go to present that. All right, okay, I think that's pretty much all the different options that they give you within Adobe Spark Page. I didn't show split layout, but essentially, like I mentioned earlier, it's splitting the page into 2 columns. All right, so if you want that look, you can absolutely bring in that look. I did want to get to sharing. So again, it's in the same vein as an Adobe Spark flyer. I can share this via a link. I can even print this out if I wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you can. You've got that option. Again, take a note from Brandon and myself. We invited each other to this specific project, and we can invite each other to collaborate and work on it together. So same option here as it is up here. It's the same thing, just in kind of a different spot. Okay, most of you will probably want to share this via a link. So when I go to publish, I'm going to pick a category, right? I'll keep it in education. Oh, here's the other really cool thing that Adobe Spark does. I mentioned it in the page, but it's really more meaningful in the, I mentioned it in the post, but it's more meaningful in the page here. It'll cite all of the images that you pulled from Pixabay automatically, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click create link, just so you can see where that comes in, because that's really powerful. I love modeling how to be a good digital citizen, and Adobe Spark does it right for you. So I'm going to copy this. I'll open up a new page or a new tab. I'll load my Adobe Spark page, and if I go all the way down to the bottom, look what it gives me. It credits all of those images that I used that I uploaded from Pixabay. How awesome is that? I didn't need to do anything. They did it for me. So that is Adobe Spark Page. Definitely explore this one and try to use it for whatever purpose you see fit. Okay. Finally, the last video, the next one will be all about Adobe Spark Video.